welcome back to Nugs with Nay. I hope you guys are having a great week. This episode, I'm going to be breaking down the different ways to consume cannabis. So you don't just have to smoke, you don't just have to take an edible. There are a few different ways to consume and self-medicate, and it's important that you find which one best works for you. Everybody's different. Some people don't like edibles. You shouldn't force yourself to take edibles. Some people don't like to smoke, or for health reasons can't smoke. You shouldn't force yourself to smoke. So hopefully you guys will find, a different form or mode of consumption that'll kind of open you up to, experimenting and trying something new, something that might work better for you than just rolling up a J or a blunt or whatever. And actually, the mental and physical effects of cannabis vary depending on the way that you consume. So how you feel off of an edible isn't going to be the same. I'm sure some of you know this. Isn't going to be the same as the way you feel after smoking a J or out of a vape pen. It's all going to be different. It's all going to affect you differently. And let's get into it. So there are 3 basic ways to consume cannabis. So inhalation, which is smoking; orally, which edibles, tinctures, Rick Simpson's oil, we'll get into that; or topicals, and we will get into that as well. So let's just start off with talking about smoking. Like what ways can you smoke cannabis? Well, when it comes to smoking, you can use a bong, you can use a bubbler, which are both water pipes. You could use a one-hitter, you could use a hand pipe, you could use rolling papers, you could use, tobacco leaves like backwoods, you could use Dutch Masters, you could use homemade smoking apparatuses or apparatuses. I don't fucking know. You could use a homemade contraption like an apple or a water bottle bong or something of that nature. Not that I recommend, because those have toxins. The apple doesn't, but water bottles and stuff that's plastic, you don't really want to inhale that. But desperate times, who knows? So there are various ways and things to use to smoke cannabis. Some people even like to, sprinkle a little cannabis on top of their shisha and consume it through a hookah, which is also a water pipe, but that's another way to consume cannabis. But before I kind of go deeper, I do want to say, when it comes to vaping, you need to be extremely careful where you get your cartridges from, because people have been getting sick from vaping. I'm sure everybody has seen in the news, people are dying or getting hospitalized due to these vaping cartridges. So what's happening is certain retailers are basically cutting the THC oil in half to save money, to be lazy, and they're replacing the other half of it with vitamin E oil. And you may think, oh, vitamin E, that's nothing. It's something, because what happens is when you inhale vitamin E oil, you inhale it, it's a vapor, but when it cools inside of your lungs, it crystallizes and goes back to its solid form. And so that's why people are having these respiratory problems. That's why people are getting sick. That's why people are dying. So when it comes to purchasing your vape cartridges, please make sure you're buying from somebody that you trust, a trusted retailer, seller, dispensary. You really don't want to take that chance. And I mean, it's your life, and it's dangerous. That's not to say vapes are bad and horrible. They're good in moderation. Just like anything, too much of a good thing is never a good thing. So just, use it sporadically, be careful, be mindful. I think vapes are great, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but in my opinion, I think vapes are great for on the go, travel. If you, need to be mindful of the odor, they're definitely good for that. But if you have the opportunity to just, consume flower and roll flower and smoke flower, or have an edible or a tincture or something else, I think that that's definitely the better route to go on, just because you don't, it's like backwoods and tobacco. I would not tell people your first option of smoking should be with a backwood. Absolutely not, because that's still tobacco, it's bad for you. But every once in a while, on occasion, you know, use your judgment, know your body, and do what's healthiest for you. So another form of vaporization is dabbing. A lot of people get kind of scared when they hear about dabbing. They get a little freaked out, don't really know what that is, they're a little confused. So I'm just gonna break it down really, really quick. So dabbing is when potent concentrated cannabis, they strip away the flower and it's just the sticky stuff, the THC, super potent, is heated to super high temperatures on a nail. It's like a dab nail. It's like a metal piece. Hopefully I'll be able to do a little show and tell with you guys and show you guys my pieces, and we can, you know, get into that more. But dabs are heated at super high temperatures on a dab nail. You inhale the smoke from that, and you really only need one. I don't, some of you may have had an experience with the dab or two. You really only need one. It is extremely potent, and they're, in my opinion, again, my opinion, I enjoy dabs every once in a while. It's definitely a one-way ticket to Stonestown. Medically, it's definitely gets you where you need to be without having to constantly relight or smoke an entire J. But I will say there are effects, there are side effects to too much dabbing. Like I said, too much of a good thing is never a good thing. When it comes to dabbing, if you do too many or you do it too often, you could, you know, get nauseous, you could get sick, and even suffer like kind of like daziness, like not only lightheadedness, but forgetfulness. If you do it too consistently, it will affect like your memory. Not saying like you'll forget everything, but you'll have a lapse in your memory. And so, you know, use with caution. Just like I said, smoke safe, smoke smart, and do what's best for you. But dabs, you know, you shouldn't be scared of them. You gotta educate yourself, and hopefully you guys are doing that here, but that's most important. Nothing should be scary. You just have to read and learn, and, you know, talk to your physician if you're here for medical cannabis. If it's recreational, read up, ask me questions, and do what's best for you. So now I'm gonna kind of segue into tinctures. Tinctures are liquid cannabis extract. And this is best for people who are looking for not instant, but a more fast relief, a quicker relief than they would get from consuming a regular edible or smoking, you know, flower or something of that nature. Good thing about tinctures is that it has less of a health risk just because you're not inhaling that smoke. So if you're concerned about, you know, your lungs or just you have asthma or something, look into tinctures. They're actually very versatile. So you can drop some under your tongue. Just a couple drops is all you really need. Again, this is concentrated cannabis, so you need to be careful. Drop a couple, you know, drops under your tongue. You could put some in a beverage or, you know, your food. But majority of tinctures are made with an alcohol solvent, so they do not taste the best. I've had alcohol based tinctures before. They definitely taste like alcohol, and when I say alcohol, I'm not talking like a beer, I'm talking like Everclear, strong alcohol. So mixing it with something is, you know, what a lot of people do, but tinctures can also come based with a MCT oil, so like a coconut oil. So there are two types, alcohol based, MCT based. And MCT definitely has an easier flavor. That's something that you could just put right on your tongue, and you don't need something to chase it down with or anything like that. So tinctures are great. I love them. They are a little more expensive to purchase, obviously, because it takes more time to extract that much THC from the flower. But if you, like I said, if you aren't trying to smoke, and if you want, you know, a more, how do I say it? If you want to have a cleaner cannabis consumption experience, tinctures might be for you. So don't be scared to check them out. They're great. I love them. So what I mentioned before was Rick Simpson's oil, RSO oil. And Rick Simpson's oil is similar to a tincture. It's an infused oil that is very potent, very strong. And Rick Simpson specifically basically found out that this oil, if used, you know, for medical purposes, it helped him treat and cope with his skin cancer. And so a lot of medical patients do turn to RSO oil for this reason. I do know family members who have used it and it has helped, you know, while they have been ill with cancer. But that is a very potent concentrate. When I say that, I mean you really just need, like, even the size of your nail is too much. Like, you really only want like half of a centimeter's worth of RSO oil, and it will definitely get the job done. I personally like to save that for patients who need it, people who need it. I would not recommend using RSO oil recreationally. That's just because, that's just my opinion. I mean, do what you want, let your freak flag fly. But for me, that's medication. That's something that's actually helping people with, you know, ADHD, autism, cancer. You know, that's a medication to me. And all weed is medication, but that specifically, it's hard to come by, and I kind of want to save that for the people that actually, you know, really genuinely need it. And that, again, that's just my opinion, but it is a great product. Okay, let's get into the edibles. Edibles. A lot of people freak out when they hear edibles. A lot of people are like, oh my God, last time I had an edible, I went blind. Last time I had an edible, I passed out. Last time I had an edible, I was floating and vibrating up in the air and I saw Jesus, and oh my God. I get it. Edibles are tricky. Anything that you consume orally is tricky because you're not in control of how your body digests it, how your liver digests it, and how much of a dose like you've taken. That's the tricky part with edibles. And when it comes to edibles, basically what people do is that they create a cannabis oil or a cannabis butter, can of oil, can of butter. And with that, they are able to cook various amounts of dishes. I've seen pies, I've seen Skittles, I've seen I made burgers. Shout out to the Herb Lord and Alexis. Shout out to them because she has a cookbook coming and she let me sample some of her cannabis olive oil and it was amazing. I cooked burgers, I've made chorizo, papas, and eggs for the morning, fries, fish, anything. It is very versatile, and that is something that I love about actual can of oil or can of butter. You don't have to smoke. Sometimes I don't like to smoke. Sometimes I just want to chill out, have my dinner. Like, sometimes I need a break. And so that's something that I feel edibles offer me. That's something that they might offer you. So when it comes to edibles, the effects are different. It is not automatically going into your bloodstream. So when you smoke, you inhale, it goes into your bloodstream. When you eat cannabis in any form, you're going to have to digest it. Your liver's gonna have to digest it, and you're going to have to let the effects, take over. And these products tend to have, a more powerful effect. They tend to have a slower onset, and that's why people will be like, oh my God, this edible, like I took this edible and nothing's happening, or I took this edible and it's not even working and I wasted my money. And then what happens? 20 minutes later and you're out like a light. Like a light, like a light, like a light. No, it does. Like you're out like a light, and that shit is like, you're couch locked. And personally for me, I don't like to be couch locked. So I mainly use my edibles at night or on a lazy day or something like that. Don't be scared of them. I always tell people, try a piece, try a half, try a quarter, and then wait an hour, wait 45 minutes to an hour, and then go back for more. Don't try a little bit, 30 minutes later, oh, I didn't feel anything, and then eat 75% of the rest of the edible, and then now you're shook. Like, give it time. Let your body, you know, digest it and really figure out your dosage and stuff. Like for me, I definitely have had one really intense experience with an edible, and I was at the airport, and I took it before the airport because flying with cannabis is illegal. I took it before I got to the airport, and by the time I got through security, I started to feel a little, you know, a little something. I had a 6-hour flight across the United States back to Washington State. So I'm like, oh, I'm trying to be knocked out. And baby, was I knocked out. I was knocked out. Before I even got on the plane, I was walking around the airport, and I went to go find where my gate was, you know, on the big TV screens. And I look, and I'm standing like this close to it, and I could not see a thing. Everything was blurry. Blurry. I'm talking like, I'm up there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to find my gate. I'm not gonna be able to get home. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I thought people were looking at me and they knew, and I started to get paranoid, and it was so much. Luckily, I knew I was smacked. I knew I was, you know, under the influence, and so I didn't get too crazy. I, you know, am good at kind of controlling my paranoia. It rarely happens for me, but I took way too much of that edible, and I literally went like, I could not read. Everything was blurry. So kind of learned my lesson from that. Definitely, you know, portions, smaller dosages. Wait, find out, see, pay attention to your body, let it work. Don't rush the process. Don't ever rush the process, because it'll snatch you up real good. I promise you that. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about topicals. Topicals. These are products that you do not consume, but you put on the outer part of your body. We're talking salves. We're talking lotions. We're talking gels. We're talking Epsom salts. Yes, they have cannabis-infused Epsom salt, honey. We're talking, I don't really know, but that's majority of the topicals. And these are fabulous if you have aches and pains. These normally come in CBD or THC. I mean, all cannabis products normally come in CBD or THC, including flower. But for the topicals, you could have CBD topicals, you could have THC topicals. And if you're sore, if you have back pains, cramps, muscle aches, a broken, you know, finger, toe, elbow, I guarantee you a topical will help in some way. Again, not a doctor, there's a little asterisk, no I'm not, but from working at a medical dispensary and even trying these topicals myself, I will say they do wonders. They do wonders, and I would not count them out. Now, the only thing is, topicals do not give you that cerebral effect of cannabis. So if you're looking to feel stoned or high or smacked or visit the marijuana ganja man, it's not gonna happen off of a topical. The topical, basically when you rub it into your skin, it then soaks into your bloodstream. You're not gonna get high. Your body may feel, you know, real good, but you're not gonna get that like, I'm smacked, oh my gosh, but you are gonna feel nice and toasty and cozy and delightful, sensational. They're great. Definitely try them. They're beautiful, and oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm having like, moment for the topicals, because a lot of people count them out and I don't know why. Like, not everything has to be about feeling stoned, you know? You want to be a connoisseur, you need to, know how to utilize the plant, how to utilize the flower for all of your needs, not just smoking, not just cooking and eating, but like taking care of your body as well. So I hope that you learned a good deal during this episode. Speaking of topicals and using cannabis in all of its assets, please, please, please tune in to next week's episode. I will have a special guest with me, and we are going to be talking about cannabis and the beauty industry. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, talk to me on Instagram at nugswithnay, 2 G's. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your week. Thank you.